Okay, something that I've been wanting to do for a while is to compare the TC Flashback digital delay on its analog setting with the Carbon Copy analog delay. These are both incredible pedals. I love these pedals. I own both, and I'm happy to be doing so. But I've always been impressed by the TC because in addition to the analog setting or the tape setting, there's a ton of other settings and a ton of other things you can do with it, including a 40-second looper. But in terms of analog, just thought that a comparison would be in order here. So let's start with the MXR. And what I've done is I've kind of tweaked these both to have about the same delay, pretty much the same regeneration, so I'm trying to get them as close as possible in a sort of true analog to emulated analog comparison. So here's the MXR. You can tell by the blue light. And that's got that definite analog tone there. You can hear it, right? It almost sounds to me like little seagulls in the background or something, like wah, 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 like that. If you hear that in the strings. Okay, so that's the MXR. Now, analog emulation on the Flashback. And again. Go back to the analog. There's definitely that darkness that everybody talks about in the Carbon Copy that is there. One of the things I think is not so much a darkness as much as a real pristine nature on the capturing in the digital realm here on the Flashback. So there's on that Flashback there. It rolls out really nicely. Same section of that song on the Carbon Copy. Now going back to the Flashback. Now some of you may be saying, well, yeah, that analog, the Carbon Copy, that's got the tone. But the thing is, yes, but the TC Flashback is just doing an emulation. That's a digital pedal. I know that there's a difference. I can hear that difference, but wow, for being a digital delay pedal to have that kind of emulation, I think it's pretty darn close. Now, some people may disagree, and I appreciate your comments on that, but now let's do something else that's really interesting. Let's set this on the tape setting, which is one above the analog there. And head-to-head that with the Carbon Copy. Again on the tape delay. Again, there's that digital brightness that's there with the Flashback that you don't have. But then here's some instances here. Like, let's say that you're doing some strumming, and on ukulele that's a very brittle sort of sound, right? And now on the Carbon Copy. I want to go back to the analog on the flashback for a more head-to-head comparison. You know what I had right there actually was the flashback and the carbon copy together, and not a bad way to run these things. I've heard of people, there are many people who will use delays together, and I think that I may be a convert to that as well. But okay, let's do that flashback again. Okay, so that's the flashback in the analog setting, and here comes the carbon copy. Again, flashback. Carbon copy. Flashback. Carbon copy. And the two of them together again. Just the MXR. And now just the flashback. The difference where I hear it really is when it stops and it's on the regeneration. And the regeneration on the carbon copy is much darker than on the flashback. But it's not off by a lot, and that's the whole thing that I'm talking about here, is that it's not off by an awful lot, and one is true analog and one is just an analog emulation. So I'm pretty impressed with the TC Flashback, and of course I love the carbon copy. And my advice is they're both so inexpensive, there's no reason not to have both, okay? Especially sometimes if you want to mess with them and run them together.